Hello, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez of themoviewizard.com, and here I am with an information guide. This is not a rant, this is not a complaint, this is not even necessarily a recommendation. This is a guide for those who saw my MoviePass review video and said, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I want one of those myself. Well, thank you for taking my recommendation. I think you are going to be very happy with that card. It's going to save you so much money. However, unlike Netflix and Hulu where you can pretty much watch whatever you want whenever you want, the MoviePass card does have some restrictions. Now, at the risk of re-reviewing the card, I'm just going to list the restrictions right now so that the rest of the guide will make sense. Restriction number 1, no 3D or IMAX movies can be seen using this card. Yet. Apparently that feature is coming and they're even testing it in a few markets. So if you are in one of those markets and have got the premium card, that's not a drawback, but for everyone else, it is going to be a drawback and it will be factored into this guide. Second drawback, you can only use it to see a movie once. This actually will not factor into the guide, but I figured I'd mention it again anyway. The third drawback, and this is what the guide is for, this is why we're talking about this now, you can only use it once every 24 hours. This means that if you want to use the card to see 4 or 5 movies a week, which is what the Hollywood system will typically release, it will be difficult, but not impossible. For perfect illustration, I have taken this screen capture of a Fandango listing for a theater near me. Now, of course, there are variables in this that I can't determine for you. For example, I don't know what your work schedule is. I don't know if there's any events that you have to go to. So please keep in mind, I am just going to give the advice as best as I can to what sounds right for the average person. I am going to assume, however, that most people watching this work 9 to 5 jobs Monday through Friday. For more convenience, we're going to start the guide on Monday since pretty much everyone has Sunday off and they can see a movie at any time of the day, so more careful planning might not be needed. However, with that in mind, for the rest of the guide to work, at least the example I'm setting, if you are going to see a movie on Sunday, please see it before 5 p.m. Alright, let's move on. Now then, the first thing we need to do is we need to pick a movie to see. You will notice that there are several movies here, some of which are 2D, some of which are 3D, some of which are, okay, this says Cinemark XD, but assume it's IMAX. It's pretty much the same thing, and it has the same restrictions. I would also like to add that, as another variable, most movies have previews that last 10 to 20 minutes. For your safety, I would assume that the previews last 15 minutes. And if you do not care about previews, which I don't, you can safely show up a little late, and that would give you some more legroom to show up at a movie. Now then, the first thing you want to keep in mind that to maximize your MoviePass card, the time of which the movies start is going to always, and I mean always, take precedent before the movie you want to see. Now, this is going to be a very unlikely situation, but let's say you want to see Woman in Gold more than you want to see Furious 7. And I'm not saying that because Furious 7 is a significantly better movie than Woman in Gold, only that more people have heard of Furious 7. But let's say you had more interest in seeing Women of Gold first. Now, assuming you get off at 5 p.m., the first showing of that is going to be 7:25 p.m. If you see this first, that means the movie you see the next day will have to start at least 1 minute afterwards. And as you can see, that's going to tie your hands for a lot of these movies because the next movie you might want to see won't start till 8 or something. So to illustrate how to best take advantage of this, let's look at Furious 7 since it has the most showtimes out of it all. Now, the XD/IMAX showings, those are off the table. However, the standard 2D screening, which the MoviePass does work with, has plenty of showings. Now, there is a showing that starts at 5, but even with the 15-minute preview head start that you have, there's a pretty good chance that with traffic, you are going to miss it. So therefore, the first time will be 5:35. However, you want to get the absolute maximum out of it. Now, look a little bit down at Home. Not the 3D Home, the 2D Home. Their first available showing is 5:30 p.m. So therefore, even though you probably want to see Furious 7 first, on Monday you would see Home first at 5:30. If you see Furious 7 on Monday, then the 5:30 showing on Tuesday for Home will not work. So see Home at 5:30 the first day, then on Tuesday at 5:35 see Furious 7. That, by extension, will free you up on Wednesday to see Get Hard at 5:50. Then on Thursday, you can see Woman in Gold at 7:25. Then on Friday, you can see Four Blood Moons at 7:30, if that is not a special showing. I don't know if that's a special showing. The fact that there's only one showing means it probably is, but for example, we're going to count it. Then the following day, you would close out the week with The Longest Ride, which will start at 8. This is how you want to do it. Now then, there are ways to also use the card to your advantage for the special showings. Let's say you do want to see 3D movies and you do want to see IMAX films. This is what you do. You would still apply the same rules that I have just demonstrated. However, on the third or fourth day, when the showtime starts showing up a little later than you'd probably like to start them with, you would pick that day to see the earlier 3D or IMAX showing of the movie that you are willing to pay for, and you would basically give the card some time to do a hard reboot so that on the fourth or fifth day, whatever you decide, and however you work this out, you could essentially start using the card at the 5:30 showings again. By prioritizing time over the movie you want to see, you will get the most out of your MoviePass card. Now, I know that's a hard concept to swallow, but here's the thing. You are subscribing to this card to save money. You're subscribing to this card to see more movies. Now, if you want to use it to the max, and to be fair, most people will not need to think this way. You will only be using the card once or twice a week, which will still save you a lot of money because you just have to use the card 3 times to break even, if not exceed the value of the purchase. So it's still worth getting if you're not a hardcore movie buff. However, if you are a movie buff, you see the value in this, you see the value in how it works. The only thing you have to do is you might have to see a movie that you might want to see today, tomorrow, so that you can see something else tonight to make the most out of your card. That is how you make the most use out of your MoviePass card. And trust me, the first week you have this card, maybe the first 2 weeks, this is the model you will want to use to catch up with all the movies. I will add one more little variable. Some $2 or $3 movie theaters will accept the MoviePass card. For the most part, I would not use the card for those theaters, even if you haven't seen the movie yet, because it's very cheap, you're not saving anything, and unless you're absolutely certain you're not seeing a movie the next day, why lock up the card for 24 hours for something that will cost you less than a McDouble at McDonald's? This is Kevin T. Rodriguez of themoviewizard.com. Like, comment, subscribe, flame responsibly.